Welcome everyone. Today we will be comparing the Ford F-150 versus the Tesla Cybertruck. There's always a way that, someone could ruin my video, like a phone going off. So if you excuse me real quick. That's much better. Now, let's get to the video, shall we? Now, the towing power of the F-150, which is a big thing, because I was watching a video on a news network today. Not going to say the name of the news network, because I'll either get shot and killed, or praised by the viewers that I have that are conservatives like me. Now, the F-150 has 5,000 to 8,000 pounds of towing power. The Cybertruck has 14,000 pounds of towing power, which is a lot, about 800 more pounds than the most powerful configuration of Ford's mega popular F-150. Which is something to think about, because if you are looking for a truck, and you only have to tow something every once in a while, and when you want to tow it, it's heavy, and you want to do it without much stress, maybe the Cybertruck is something to think about. Meanwhile, the F-150, that's a good truck, but maybe you'd want to get the F-350, because, of course, bigger the number, better the car. So, let's move on to the horsepower and the torque. The horsepower of the F-150 is 250 to 450 horsepower. Meanwhile, the Cybertruck puts out a whopping 800 horsepower. Now, this does not mean that in any way, shape, or form that the Cybertruck will put out 800 horsepower. Okay? Because when you think about it, you have a gas engine inside of an F-150, okay, that puts out, the 250 to 450 horsepower. But if you need 800 horsepower to propel the vehicle, for starters, that's because you're making this vehicle barely move just with that 800 horsepower, because trust me, if I was the owner of Tesla, I'd want to make this thing light as possible. I'd want to make this thing as, well, I guess, battery efficient as possible. And, yeah, you would want to not swallow the battery power right away, especially in this time period. Because, in my opinion, the Teslas are way ahead of their time, because it's an all-electric car, which I think the electric cars are the way of the future, but, I'll make a video talking about that some other time. So now, the torque. The torque of the F-150 is 265 to 510 foot-pounds of torque. Nice. That's a good amount of torque, don't you think? Now, it's not always that the more horsepower a car and or truck has, the more torque it'll put out. It's not like that. It simply isn't. Now, this has proved me wrong, because an electric vehicle would put out a lot of torque. If you've ever been to an indoor racing track with electric go-karts, you would know just how much torque those things could put out compared to a gasoline go-kart. You get pushed back in your seats on them. It puts out 1,000 pound-foot of torque, which is impressive, don't you think? And now, this is the part that really boils down to, well, what are my options financially? Because here we have the pricing. The base model of an F-150 goes for $28,499. $495. And now the Super Cab, $32,580. But the Super Crew Cab, which is the top notch, okay, that's the top notch vehicle right there, $35,035. Which, that's money. Money is money, and no one could dispute the fact that money is money. So if you are just looking for a starter truck, maybe you'd want to go to the dealer and buy a used F-150. Base model F-150 for like, I don't know, whatever they go for. Probably around $15,000 for a 2010, because I believe that Fords are good vehicles. And the Cybertruck, now I know that the pricing is still getting figured out, which, it has to get figured out, but they have time, because this truck, rumor has it, it's going to come out in 2021, I want to say, and this vehicle costs $39,900. Now, I quite honestly would stick with the F-150 if I was forced to choose, but if I was forced to choose any vehicle at all, I would choose a Chevy 1500, perhaps a Chevy Suburban, because think of it this way. The Chevy Suburban has plenty of room inside of the vehicle, and you could also tow with it. I mean, it's the best of both worlds, don't you think? But that's sidetracked completely, because we're talking about Ford and Cybertruck. But, overall, I would prefer a Ford, because the Ford, for starters, this is experimental technology right now. Because if you went back to 2005, you'd be like, whoa, an electric car? I mean, of course, hybrids were around, the Toyota Prius, but, it's an electric vehicle, all electric. So, you make the choice. If you're watching this and you're like, man, this guy makes me want to buy the Cybertruck, go for it. Who am I to stop you? But I would wait. Okay, I would wait, alright. Well, you have to wait anyway, because it's 2 years, but that's besides the point. I hope that this video was informative, and I guess somewhat entertaining. I know it could get a little bit boring, but, I hope you guys who have watched this video have a nice day. Have a nice one.